Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. Liftoff.
Hello. What is up, family? Hunter Klein, bringing you this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys number 36. Before we get into it, guys, some things that have been on my plate, some things that I want to cover. Number one, the podcast title, guys. I love it so much. I know I've brought it up in the past on social media, or maybe even on the podcast about potentially changing it to something more general or bland like the Hunter Klein show. And I just want to confirm that there's absolutely no way I'm steering away from Interplanetary Monkeys, no matter how complicated it might be, no matter how hard it may be to put into a search bar, no matter how counterintuitive or against the grain it is in regards to accessibility and ease of finding, ease of searching. We're sticking with it because the message is beautiful, guys. I absolutely love it. What else, guys? Last week we talked on this idea of unlocking creativity and getting better at controlling the brain. And y'all know we don't really sit on these things often, right? We like to take action and follow through. Like when we bring things up that need to be fixed, when we we're not really talkers. We're not really empty claimers. When we bring something up on the pod, when we talk about something that needs to be changed, we take the necessary steps to change it. And last week, I did. So creativity. How do we get control of it? All right. We talked on one of my major problems right now is that I am always stimulated. I never sit in silence, right? I'm always listening to a specific podcast, or I'm always listening to an entertainer. I'm always absorbing something, music or whatever. In last week, I, for the first time in my life, decided to practice doing absolutely nothing, aka meditation. Now, I'm not a big fan of the term meditation because it holds this weird, floaty, hippie vibe to it. But literally, in the context of practicing doing nothing, sitting in silence, nothing going on, not listening to music, with your eyes closed, just nestling into your brain. Simply observing and witnessing the brain in action. Okay? Now, this wasn't like I said, this isn't some get out of the app. I have some dude like, all right, and focus on the top of your head. 5, 4. No coach, none of that stuff. Just starting from straight scratch. I got some tequila, by the way, today. Because why not, But no coach, all on my own, just getting into the zone. This is me literally turning off everything, and just sitting in my own head. Now, I also talk a lot about, and you can probably tell from watching some of the podcasts or just observing me, I'm kind of a fast mover. Right? I think we have like a Ferrari engine in our head that really never turns off, unfortunately, or fortunately. But from my experience, I've been taking this quite seriously. Sitting down for like an hour, which is insane for me, not doing anything. 2 major reasons that I started this, right? Number 1 being I am stimulated too much. We kind of covered this. I'm always watching or listening to someone, never silence in my own brain. And I believe, guys, this is probably unhealthy. And going off of what I said earlier in last week, I think it's also destroying my creativity. So it's unhealthy, the way I'm operating, the way my brain works, the way I justify this. I'm always going 100%. I think it's unhealthy. And I think it's fucking with my creativity. And the second reason I took this leap, finally committed to this, is I want to get even more comfortable at being myself. Okay? I think a large reason or a big reason a lot of people are always watching TV or always looking for a friend to hang out with, always listening to music, is because they're scared of their head when nothing else is going on. They're scared of what their own voice says. Now, I don't think I fall into that category, but I want to get even better at it. All right? What does my brain do in complete silence? I don't even know. I can't answer that question. And I think that's sad. I think that's scary, and I think it's unhealthy. So we dove in. All right? So I sat down for the first time in my life in complete silence in my head, watching and listening for about an hour. Okay? So day 1 of meditation for me, and here's what we encountered. Okay? So number 1, the first 5 minutes were insanely difficult. Okay, and the best way I can put it is my brain is like a child on crack. All right, the first 5 minutes of meditation for me was like taking away a child's tablet and throwing them in an empty room. All right, there was panic, right? There was rushing. My focus was almost bouncing everywhere, and it was overwhelming. Like it was just rattling. I imagine taking away a kid's tablet, throwing him in a room, and him just sprinting around the room. Like there's nothing going on. He's banging on the walls. This is legitimately what it felt like in my head. Okay. And I couldn't make sense of anything. There was nothing. I was just watching hecticness. Right. And I think and my brain's used to that because I'm usually like have like a podcast open and I'm working on a project and I'm doing research. So when I took away my tablet or the crack or all this stimulation, my brain just freaked out. Because for the first 5-10 minutes were really difficult. But I rode the wave, observing what was happening and just powered through, right? It wasn't hard. It was just interesting. I was very aware of what was going on it was like my conscious and my brain were kind of separated. I know we're getting floaty, but stick with me here. I'm trying to be honest and transparent for you guys in the case that you've potentially thought about meditating or, might be in the same boat as me as far as needing that stimulation 100% of the time. Okay, the next thing to happen, it was almost as if my child on crack brain exhausted itself. It was in the box with nothing. It was so panicky. It was jumping everywhere. And then it just lost all the energy after throwing its tantrum, right? It was a lot like my brain threw an insane tantrum right off the bat. And then it was so exhausted that it just passed out. I began to get very, very sleepy. Now, I get a lot of sleep at night, too. Like, I'm very... so that it's not that I was like, I'm sleeping for 4 hours, so no wonder you fall asleep during meditation. I get like 8 to 9 hours of sleep. So I'm well rested. I shouldn't be passing out during this. It's like 4 in the afternoon, and I don't take naps. So it was weird. I got really sleepy. Now, of course, it rose like while it's happening to me, I'm meditating. I'm like, do people, does this normally happen? Like, do people normally pass out from meditation? It seems like if you're going to slow everything down, if you're going to pull the reins back, it's only natural that you pass out. And it turns out, yes. But my scenario was a little interesting. And I did a bunch of research on this. And it seems that we've identified that the following is what I'm experiencing, okay? So because I never meditate or just sit down in my thoughts, when I tried to enter this new area through it, this new, like, I'm awake, but I'm not going 100 miles per hour, I never do that. So it seems that trying to enter this new area, my brain didn't know what to do, right? So it figured if we aren't going full speed, we're just going to go to sleep, right? We never sit in this middle ground. We're not used to this. Like I need to practice it, right? You hear this a lot, meditation. You need to practice. And it's a hard thing to practice, and it seems kind of counterintuitive to just sit down and practice the art of nothing. But I felt it 100%. I tried to enter this new middle ground of consciousness or of just being awake, and my brain was like, no, we are either going 100% or we sleep. That's just the way it goes. And that is the way that I've done things previously. And it was just so interesting to watch my brain kind of go through this and experience this. But overall, guys, it was worth the 45 minutes or so of the time I invested, which is nuts to me and very, very impactful. Because one of the major things that stopped me from ever doing this is I'm a very I'm a workaholic. I don't like to waste time. I like to always be going. It's hard for me to relax because I feel like I should be working. It was a profound experience for me to get to the end of this, this first meditation session and be able to say, wow, that was worth it. It was just clarity. It was similar to how I feel at the end of a workout. It was just I was relaxed. And I didn't feel like I needed to rush to turn on the TV to watch something or throw in earbuds and listen to music. I just felt content. All right. And keep in mind, guys, I am the kind of guy. I am the person who previously, if someone brought up meditation or asked me if I meditated, I'd be like, I'm good. That sounds terrible. That sounds awful. I'm not about that. I don't waste time. I'm full speed, all gas, no brakes. All right. I was that guy. But now I'm very for it. Okay, I'm very for it, and I loved it, which I did not expect. Okay, I did not expect to actually enjoy it. And I'm going to practice it, guys, because I need to chill the hell out. I need to get better at relaxing. Right? We've talked about this before. I go too fast. Some other people have reached out and said they kind of relate to this anxiety that kind of creeps up on you and makes you feel like you need to just push it to the max. It was making me a shitty person to hang out with. Or it was making me a person that didn't want to hang out because I could not relax. I need to get better at this middle ground. And this was the very first start of it, and it was a beautiful experience. So we're going to keep going. And hopefully I can get a lot better at it. And improve. And, get into those states of creativity. Right after I was done meditating, I came to the computer and I just started writing in silence for the podcast today, guys. Perfect. How beautiful. Right? We went through a week of dimmed down or nerfed creativity. We analyzed the potential issues, identified the culprit. Too much stimulation. My brain's too busy. We acted on it. And I immediately got tangible results, guys. And that is what it's all about. It truly is what it's all about, guys. Development, learning from our mistakes, and growing. Tangible growth, guys. I am such a sucker for tangible growth. All right, but yeah, guys. Overall, it was beautiful. I can't say that enough. I think it's really important to emphasize that I was a meditation hater before as well. So I don't know, guys. Why did and one of the biggest reasons I meditated this week is because it's just been a weird week for me. I was in a rut, you could say. Not bad or difficult, but definitely a rut, a weird groove. I didn't feel like doing much at all. Things were just low. Right, I think things have been going very well for me, and I think that there's this duality to the brain, right? This highs and lows, this natural roller coaster ride of balanced chemicals, and once you experience a real high, naturally you kind of experience real low, and you kind of just drift back and forth. I think I was on the low end of things, as far as writing, what I was doing. I felt bored with things. I felt out of it. So I think this is it pushed me to do something. I needed to get out of the rut, find a way out. So that was one big reason that I was like, you know what? Let's just sit in silence for an hour and see what the hell is going on upstairs. All right. I think one of the biggest problems for me, not problems, but one of the biggest things in my life right now is that I have this newly found uncertainty to my human adventure. Right? And sometimes it sneaks up on me and whaps me in the head. And when I say this newly found uncertainty, I mean being an adult. Right? I'm still relatively new to this adulting thing. About a year or two that I've been out here in the wild. Because let's be honest, most of us aren't thinking about the world, life, the 60, 80 years after college when we're in school. Right? I was just in school. I'm still technically in school, but I'm living on my own. I have bills to pay. But just a year or two ago, I was in college, undergrad. And when you're in college, you're not thinking about your future, your life. I was a hard worker, and I checked all the boxes, but when you're in college, you're looking for what girl you're going to go home with. right? Or what guy you're going to go home with. What guy do you hope comes up to you the party this weekend? You're looking for what alcohol you're going to be drinking this weekend, right? Life is secondary. In that little dome, undergrad, college is a little dome of inclusion and release and joy and stimulation. It's a funny word to throw in there. The most interesting part about the transition from school, college to whatever this is for me, whatever this is being the real world, adulting, the next step of life, if you will. The most interesting part about this transition for me is the difficulty in keeping track or measuring self-worth and development. Now, I think this is huge, guys. This is really big for me. So what do I mean by this? In college, you have a grading system. Okay, your 0 to 4 GPA scale, your weekly test scores out of 100, your daily assignments, and so on. And you're constantly getting feedback on your performance. How are you learning? How do you stand to the rest of the pack? How am I doing as a human right now? All right. But out here in the real world, where we pay taxes and register vehicles, where we pay rent and buy groceries, there is no feedback. No monthly test that your professor writes good job on, right? No GPA at the end of the semester to show your mom, hey, I'm doing well, you know? There's no standard or markers to check that say, hey, you're doing a good job, man. You're on the right path. It's just a damn free-for-all out here, guys. Every man or woman for themselves. And how are you doing? No one knows. All right? Maybe how much you get paid. It seems that might be one of the only feedbacks, one of the only markers that you can gauge how am I doing out here? The tangible markers. Right? I'm talking about things that you can read, things that you can hold, things that you can show people. I think we need that. And out here in the real world, outside of school, the only thing I can think of is of payment. What do you make a month? What do you make a year? This is so interesting to me, guys. Your monthly, yearly salary is the report card of the real world. Maybe this year's raise is the raising GPA for an adult. It really is, guys, one of the few tangible / real / presentable markers of how you're doing out here. And I'm thinking about this because I'm struggling. I got the 4.0s. I did good on the test. I did everything right. So that's where I got a lot of my self-worth. I always knew that I was maxing everything out. I always knew that I was doing good because I got the hundreds back. I got the 4.0 GPA back. Right? I was doing everything I need. I don't have that anymore. Now I'm thinking, what if I'm a sucker for tangible results, what are some tangible results I can get out here in the real world? In income's got to be it. The only thing I can think of for a majority of people, right? I have physical fitness, so maybe I have my body composition as a feedback, looking in the mirror, my podcast. But for the normal person, the normal person doesn't go to the gym every day. The normal person doesn't have a podcast. So for the average person, it seems that your yearly salary is your GPA. And thinking about this, maybe this is why we spend money we don't have on BMWs, on nice cars, on nice clothes, on things that show outwardly to the world. Like putting your 4.0 GPA sheet on the fridge, we want to put that BMW in the driveway, baby. Right? We want that Gucci bag, that Versace bag. I don't even know if they make bags, but my point is, monetary wealth, monetary well-being, income seems to be the GPA sheet that we used to put on our mom's fridge that shows all the world, hey, I have a BMW in my driveway and we are doing well. I walk out of my house every morning and see that BMW in the driveway, and it's like seeing a goddamn 4.0 on a GPA sheet at the end of the semester. Because I think we need tangible growth, guys. Don't we? We need awards, right? We need a piece of paper at least that says, keep killing it, man. Employee of the month. Right? Maybe your tangible growth is someone reaching out saying, hey, I love what you're doing. Keep going. This is all needed and very important, because I think it's very easy to lose your way in the real world where there is not a lot of markers. It's very easy to get caught up in the madness and lose sight of the big picture. All right, what are you going for? What's your mission? Okay? That's been a big struggle for me recently, guys. What are markers? How can I feel good about myself week to week? What can I tangibly grow in? And I think it's even more of an issue for your general person. Like I said, I'm a sucker for tangible growth, and I know this. I'm very aware of this. This entire discussion we just had, this is a discussion I've been having with myself for years. So I do things like podcast and fitness and things that, week to week, I can measure my growth and how I'm doing. But for the average person, man, it's got to be fucking insanely difficult. All right? So maybe find things that are tangible that you can hold on to and watch grow, that let you feel good to yourself at the end of the day, so you don't have to rely on material objects to make you feel good, right? Walk into your house and you have a nice $5,000 TV. You're like, yeah, we're doing well, baby. A big topic on my mind recently, guys, is women, mate choice, relationships. All right. And part of this is because of the chemicals in my brain, me being a young male monkey. There's a lot of hormones in my body triggering me saying, hey, you need to reproduce. You need to reproduce. It's time to start a family. But I don't think that's the core of the issue. I don't think it's funny that I paint it as an issue. I don't think it's the core of the reason I'm thinking about women or relationships that much. It's because of my family. All right. Mom keeps calling, asking about women. Grandma keeps calling, asking about women. And I have absolutely nothing for them every damn time. Guys, here's the deal. Here's how I feel, whether it be truly how I feel or how I justify not being in a relationship. This is the deal. I am not happy with where I am at in my life right now. Now, not to say that I'm not in a good spot or that my life is shitty. I'm happier than I've ever been. I'm more confident than I've ever been, more emotionally stable than I've ever been. But it still does not mean that I'm happy with where I'm at in my life. Okay, the future I envision for myself is large and abundant. And I believe that when your vision doesn't line up with your reality, it's your responsibility to dedicate everything you have to lining these two things up. That is your vision, your dream, if you will, and what you wake up to. Right? And mine aren't lined up. The point here is I don't have time to scroll through random apps choosing which girls I think are hot or not. I don't have time to go spend 6 hours every Saturday chasing women around downtown Phoenix. It's just not in my cards right now, guys. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm going to be abstinent and just remove women from my life. I'm not trying to take it to that level, nor do I think it needs to be taken that seriously. I will still go out here and there. I still might land a lady here and there. But my point is that I will continue spending a large majority of let's say my Saturdays at home working on my podcast, studying exercise and nutrition, figuring out ways to grow our community here until I'm satisfied, until I feel like I can take a step back and start looking for a woman or relationship or building a family. Or maybe I'll just never feel satisfied. Maybe I'll never be satisfied. I will never be satisfied. I think that's just how my brain works potentially, right? But there will be a time, all jokes aside, there will be a time that comes where I settle down. Okay, where I do start going out and taking weekends easily. After this grind period is over, a time where I don't feel like I need to grind mercilessly 24/7. I just have something to prove right now, friends. I feel something, I truly believe in a wildly great future for myself. yeah, this is gonna, I hate getting into this mode. It's gonna get a little motivational here, but I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I put enough work in, I put enough time in, I obsess over things so much that if something wild doesn't happen, if something abundant doesn't happen to me in the next 10 years or so, I feel like it should be a disservice to humanity, or that's the kind of work I'm trying to put in. Right? Where there's news stories written about this kid because nothing fucking happened. That's my goal, okay? And here is how I feel. 100% authentic. 100% authentic. Some will say it's egotistical. Some will say it's awesome, but I don't really give a shit because this is 100% how I feel. True colors in a world of black and grays, guys. You know the deal. You know how we do it on here, okay? I feel like a couple years back, I was trudging home on a rainy, let's say a cool summer night. And an old woman was sitting on a park bench just off the road, and she called me over. Hey, you young man, come over here. Okay? And she sat me down. And ever so mysteriously, she slipped me an envelope. I'm like, what the hell? I pick it up. She says, inside this envelope is the cheat sheet to life. The answer key to the test of your success. Complete this, learn this, and it will happen for you. And she says, when you've finished, I'll be here waiting for you to give you your reward. So I went home that night and I started studying. I start writing shit on my walls in notebooks. I'm obsessing. And from there on, everything changes. I start working nonstop. I start acing every test, just ferociously maxing out every activity or result I can. Following the sheet, checking the boxes. She gave me the answers. All right, if I just follow this, everything will come together for me. All right, until I get to a point where it appears that I finished. All right, I'm joyous. I'm cheering. I'm waving this bitch around. And I go back to that park bench, man, so damn happy, and I wait. A couple hours pass, no lady. Maybe it's I'm talking to myself now. Maybe it's a nighttime thing. Right? Maybe it needs to be low key. Maybe she just doesn't like to come out in daylight. All right, so nighttime comes. Nothing. The next day passes. Nothing. Day after day, absolutely nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, how could it be? Where is my reward? Right now, I'm frustrated. I checked the boxes. I aced the test. I created. I led. I traveled the world. I did everything the envelope told me. It has to come. She has to come. Okay? Guys, I am still at that park bench today. Heck, I have moved my entire fucking bedroom out here. I camp there. I wake up there. Still studying the letter, following the guidelines, waiting for that old woman to show up and give me the golden ticket. All right, this is why it's hard for me to chill out, to relax, to go out, to go on dates. Because I don't want to leave that bench, man. Maybe I'm always in this, maybe I've missed something, right? I'm looking at the letter. Everything appears to be checked, but maybe I've missed something. Let's create an Instagram for the podcast. Maybe that's it. Maybe that'll break us through. What else have we missed? Get on the phone with a nutritionist for the Phoenix Suns. Let's just start doing wild shit. Maybe this will be our big moment. It's not that I feel I deserve a reward or that I feel that the world is unfair. It's just that I do not believe that this amount of work, sweat, and blood can amount to anything short of accomplishment and greatness, friends. I truly believe that. So I'm going to stay at that damn bench, living a semi-lonely life. One plate, one fucking fork in my cabinet. Nothing but the essentials, trying to figure out what's missing and what is left so I can get that old lady to fucking come back and meet me at that bench. Okay? That's legitimately exactly how I feel. I spent hours trying to communicate the way I feel about life right now. My inability to relax into a story, into a visual representation, and I feel like this is the best way to put it. Okay? So rock on, friends. Keep hammering, shine on. How the hell do we bounce off that right now? My mom's in the rink. the jail. Sorry, Mom, if you're listening. I'm sure you were a bit worried about this being brought up, but why not? Okay, it's been a big part of my life right now, and we're about transparency here, so we'll talk about it a bit. Now, to be unfair, it is an unfortunate situation and undeserving, in my opinion. Some small town drama, some small town rumors that led to a small town courtroom decision with a small punishment. Only a week or two and everything will be back to normal. She will be out, but it's been a very, very strange experience for me, guys. And the reason this is because my dad, my pops, is pretty much MIA or missing in action. My mom is pretty much all I have. She's my right-hand man or woman. Somewhat of a dynamic duo, you could say. The only person I have. So I have this very subtle feeling that I have no one to talk to right now. That I'm on this adventure of life alone. Trudging through the sand like Denzel Washington in The Book of Eli. One of my favorite movies, by the way. Now, this seems kind of sad, rightfully so, but my weird-ass brain also finds it very beautiful. All right, from this perspective, I feel like the star in my own zero-to-hero adventure. The lone wolf. The last survivor. Young man on his own goes for it all. It's just been an interesting experience. Right? You know, I've never... Even though I live in Arizona all by myself, and during COVID, it's been very isolating, and I don't have many friends out here, and we're kind of just always in our own head. I never truly feel alone because I can call my mom. But I can't do that right now. So it just I really feel like I'm on an island. And for whatever reason, I think that I have a gift. I mean, I don't have a lot of things, but if I do have the ability to really find the positive or growth in any situation, and right now, my brain's just looking at it truly. I don't have to convince myself to think like this. My brain looks at it truly as a test of my character. Right now, you're truly alone, kid. What can you do with it? All right, it's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep going. Okay. Now, I don't say that to myself, but it seemed right. It seemed right. An interesting episode this week, guys. I think you can see the mental state I was in bleed through some of the topics or discussions. And it's just an interesting time in my brain right now. You know? And I think if we had to culminate this episode up, it would be this. Right? Right now, my life just revolves around, I am just purely waiting on everything to culminate into something tangible. All the work I've been putting in, all the work I've been putting into this podcast, my physical fitness, my education, my brain. Something tangible that I can look at and celebrate. Because I'm still in an apartment. Right? I'm still in my bedroom recording a podcast. Right? Something tangible, something to look at, something to celebrate would allow me to relax a bit and get my hands out of the dirt. But then I think it's very possible that this is where I need to be. All right, the best part of the adventure is the climb, the struggle. And maybe all we need right now is just a wider camera angle to see the mountain of gold we're standing on. The roses that we walk through while we are stuck in our heads trying to figure this whole thing out. You know, I'm not really sure. All right, but at least we are trying to figure this thing out, you know? I'm glad there's no guidelines. How to be a human. I'm glad there's no 100% confirmed story. This is the journey of humanity. The mystery, the journey of understanding, search for the truth really makes this one special fucking experience we are all sharing. All right? So be good to yourselves. Ask questions. Call yourself a bitch when it's deserved. And shine on, family. All right? That'll be it for this week's episode of IP Monkeys. This is Hunter Klein, and I'll see y'all next week. Peace, peace.